Phases of recovery. That's how the Four Lakes Task Force is organizing its efforts to repair the dams and restore the lakes.
The first phase was stabilizing the dams and figuring out the cost of damage. The second phase is figuring out how to pay for those repairs.
Property owners in the lakeside communities will foot a chunk of the bill. TV5's Blake Keller breaks down how much each one will be required to pay.
The property tax assessments is a way to fund the rebuilding of the dams.
Determining a property's assessed value, something Midland realtor Teresa Quintana says is going to have a major impact on the region's recovery.
And there's two different types of tax assessments that are going to be placed on lakefront and backlot properties.
The Four Lakes Task Force split the assessments in two, an operations assessment and a capital improvements assessment.
Operations assessment, and that's going to be a continuous assessment that's forever, and that's to pay for maintenance and operations, and that makes sure that this never happens again. The second assessment is capital improvements, and this is going to supplement the cost of the rebuilding of the four dams. The methodology is complicated.
Citizens who are 100% in support, they understand the methodology. We've got another group of citizens who feel that it's unfair for any taxation to come to them.
Gladwin County Administrator Mark Justin says there's mixed reaction. The methodology considers a range of factors like if it's a front or back lot, the length of land facing water, the water depth, the benefits of the land, and much more.
Secured a lot of funding for us that's really eased the burden on the taxpayers in the county.
The concern is dwindling because there's been a significant decrease in what the estimates have been.
And the reality is none of us want to pay more money.
Tim Holsworth, the Sanford Lake Association president, says the assessments are an investment into lake life.
But I think that the majority of us feel like it's a necessary evil.
The association has given $45,000 in order to help offset some assessment costs. Along with state funding and grants, the assessments were much higher before.
Originally, just Sanford Lake as an example was originally the highest one. 2 years ago, it was estimated to be around $3,000 a year.
And it's a bargain of the century. The assessment is a really good deal when you consider increase in property values, right?
We reached out to the Four Lakes Task Force regarding the Special Assessment District. President Dave Kepler says, with the grant from the state, the restoration of the lakes and dams is now affordable for the majority of property owners. In the meantime, we will continue to pursue other grants and funding. All right, here's a top to bottom look at that district. And with additional grants, the task force anticipates a tentative 3% at-large assessment for the counties and townships in this region. But any and all assessments would need approval first. I'm Blake Keller. Back to you.
If you'd like to take a look at the interactive Special Assessment District map, go to the hot link section on WNEM.com.
And there's a mapped out timeline by the Four Lakes Task Force for the dam repairs. It reports 4 dams are on track and on schedule. So when will they be operational again? Well, work at the Seacourt and Smallwood Dam should wrap up in 2024. The Sanford Dam should be back in operation by 2025, and the Edenville Dam will take the longest, scheduled to be completed by 2026.
Hundreds of people sued the state and federal government in the wake of the floods, but they're still waiting for a resolution. The state has attempted to have those lawsuits thrown out, arguing it has governmental immunity. Attorney Ben Johnson says the state is making the process longer than it needs to be.
2 years of litigation later, we haven't taken a single deposition. We haven't done much of anything in terms of a real trial. Why? Because the state of Michigan is engaging in that same delay, deny, defend behavior. They're just kicking the can down the road.
Johnson says the Michigan Supreme Court rejected the state's latest appeal last month to dismiss the lawsuits.
Being prepared for the next emergency, should there be one, is top of mind for many of those responsible for keeping people in these communities safe. Gladwin County's Emergency Management Director Robert North says another flood is inevitable, so he's tasked with being proactive and consistently updating and improving lines of communication to make sure everyone in harm's way makes it to safety.
We want people to get ready for the next one. The topography dictates that we will flood. We've had a major flooding event almost every decade or so, going back into the 20s.
North urges property owners to get flood insurance even if they're not in a floodplain, because help from FEMA and the state aren't always guaranteed. He also encourages everyone to sign up for the Nixle program. It gives you real-time emergency alerts straight to your phone. Gladwin and Midland County residents can text their zip code to 888-777.
The flood left the Midland Center for the Arts and the Midland County Historical Society scrambling to protect artifacts spanning 200 years. Most of them were saved and are now undergoing the long process of restoration. Once they come back, they'll be housed somewhere high and dry.
Those collections will have a home here at the center, safe and far from the floodplain, and will be stored in an environmentally controlled space.
The center has also launched a campaign to raise $47 million for post-flood renovations. It's already raised $34 million.
Still to come, raising money by raising the roof.
Up next, meeting the little lady using her big voice at an 80s benefit concert for the Wixom Lake Association.